Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Sorry for that little delay there, but welcome to Thursday morning. We are on here every Thursday morning live talking about the markets, what's going on, and how to trade differently.
Did you have to go out there and knock the ice off your cable so it works, or?
Yep, exactly. I was unburying the satellite dish.
Yeah. There you go.
What's the temperature up there right now?
We are not snowing yet. It was 24 yesterday.
Oh,
but let me take a look. Oh, I still got 21.
we were 75 yesterday, and this morning it's going to be a lot cooler. But I say it's only going to get about in the 60s. So
yeah, no, it's starting to cool off. But I was glad that we went to Texas when we did, because I was worried about coming back to like snow and freezing.
Yeah.
But when we got back, it was still a little bit warmer, so that my body could adjust as it like went down. Right? Otherwise, you just get shocked and you're it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, Randy should be here. He used to get here late. Tim will not be. If Randy doesn't make it, there's since he does the traditional covered calls, I kind of talk about what we did today with our micro moment stuff. And then that not includes Mark. He had trades today in micro moment, but also he's got a good little story to tell about his covered call, and that sort of substitute for Randy. And then we'll just kind of cut it off with that. Anyhow, we have our micro moment sessions each day when the market's open during the week, from 8:30 Central to 9:30 Central. This is the first hour of the market, and our trades average somewhere between probably 15 to maybe 30 seconds or something like that. And we're always back to cash, and we're never in cash. Obviously, not in cash overnight, and we're never in cash over the weekend. We only trade indexes and Apple, because Apple's almost an index. We trade those so we don't have to worry about it. It's just, in other words, when we're trading micro moments, we're not concerned with, is the stock going to go up because they had a good earnings report? Is the stock going to go something because this happened, or news, or that, or whatever? So we trade the indexes, so we don't have to worry about any of that. And we're not making individual trades. We're making individual trades. We're trading the movement in the market.
Absolutely.
And so we're not concerned with individual stocks going up and down.
Right.
We're just trading the movement. So it's really, really a neat way. It's all you have to do is learn, and you learn from these folks like Mark and Cezanne and Tim and Randy. Well, of course, Randy's overdoing the traditional covered calls. But yeah, you learn from them. You learn how to read the chart. The chart's the key. The chart tells you when to get in and when to get out, and that is entirely it. That's it. And these guys make, on average, we've been doing this as a subscription service for 132 weeks. We've been doing it for about 5.5 years, and these guys trade our accounts. But the interesting thing is, 132 weeks, we've never had a week that was less than 100% average.
That's pretty crazy, right?
Today we're up 104.2947 so far for the week, which would be today, because we're through for the day. And so we're already over 100%. So we'll probably hit another 20% tomorrow. Today we did 37.6360 between Cezanne, Tim, and the Mark. So that's kind of what we do. And the service is super. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say that, Micah?
No, I was just going to say what you're saying is so key. It really transforms everything when you're not looking into. Oh, can you hear me?
Huh?
Yep.
You
got to freeze, Micah. I think it's freezing up.
Yeah, it still goes to that freeze part.
Yeah. Go ahead and continue.
That's what we do, and it's just a great trading technique. Again, you don't have to worry about trying to pick a stock. You don't worry about that. You don't worry about anything. We're just trading the volume of the QQQs. That's what Mark does, and Cezanne and Tim do Apple. And we have our clients. We're on go to meeting, and they can tell us what they're doing, and they send in, and we read out every comment. And tomorrow, Friday, it's a phone-friendly Friday, and people will be able to call in also. So it's just a great technique. We do it every single day when the market's open, and just for the first hour, and we're through as far as that goes. I want to turn it over to Mark, and because he's going to substitute for Randy in here. Randy does traditional covered calls, and Randy's been with us for about 20 years. So has Mark.
Yeah, sorry. So, yeah.
So
Thanks,
has Mark. So Randy though just does exclusively traditional covered calls plus some modifications that he's kind of invented over the years. And so Mark, go ahead and take it and kind of explain the essence of that, because what you did with that latest, and Mark also teaches our future, so you might put a spot in there for your futures business.
Oh, for sure. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the micro-moment trading Joe was just talking about, right? It's more of a, it's a faster paced technique, right? We get in and out of these trades in seconds to maybe a minute or something, and make our profit, quickly. With the other techniques that we usually talk about, there's a longer kind of technique, and we've applied some new techniques to it to make it shorter and increase our amount of profits we can make per month. But it's more of a monthly kind of look at making 3 to 6% per month. And then we've evolved that into even more, where we can actually make these now using weekly options. We can buy a stock. It's a thing called a covered call, where we can buy a stock and then sell the option and pick up the profit on that. And typically we're making 3 to 6% per week now in some cases, right? So like today I was telling Joe about the stock AMD I've had for a while. It's shot up. Actually last week I went and sold the 150 call on it. It shot up to like $5, 155, sorry. So the calls were $5. So I just rolled it out to the next week. And of course now, I sold it for $1. It shot up to $5. So I rolled it out to the next week and then picked up this profit, of $5 per share on this, right? And what it equates to is about 4%, I made each week on this particular position. So it's one of the techniques that we use quite often in more of a longer plays, and Randy does out there, and he teaches, the cover call technique again. It's where you buy the stock and you sell the call. So it's covered because you have the stock, to back it up. So when it gets called out, or if the stock gets taken away, essentially the call fills, I guess I should say, then, the stock gets taken away and you move on to the next trade or buy it back and do it again.
Yeah, I think if you get called out, you always make a profit because that's how you set it up. And if you don't get called out, you keep the profits you made from that sale and turn around and just sell it again. Sort of like renting an apartment.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's what we like it to, right? Renting our property or renting an apartment or something.
Yeah,
month after month, generating income on this, and it's one of the great techniques that we've taught for many, many years. That's very, very, very good, I guess, at generating cash consistently. So.
And you can do that off of any 100 share.
Yeah. Yeah, because one option contract, right, equates to 100 shares. So, right.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, the type of benefit too, if you're holding.
He's done something.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Randy's shortened up too. He has some other techniques he's been using where doing some of these synthetics, I guess he's calling them, with the TSS and things, and actually allowing us to make even more profit. So.
Yep. Absolutely. I am sorry for the delay. I feel like a newscaster where they're standing in the stormy weather and they ask them a question, about 10 seconds later they respond. But I'm just in the stormy weather on site.
I wonder what's causing that delay.
It's how the Apollo moon was, right? The moon landing guys are up there to send a message, have to wait.
Yep, I think it's just my internet, Joe. But yeah, it really becomes a no-brainer if you have 100 shares of a stock, right? It just sits and it goes up and down, especially if it's something you've owned for a long time, and it sits and it fluctuates, and it goes up slowly over time. But really, it doesn't take away from that stock position at all. You don't have to really touch the actual stock to be able to generate extra cash on it. It's something you add on top, and I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. Now, there's another aspect to it too, Micah. A lot of people like dividend stocks because they just like to get those 2 or 3, maybe if they're really like 4% a year dividends, and you can take those exact same stocks and get your dividend, buy the stock, get your dividend every quarter or every year, how often they pay it. But also every month or every week now, sell a covered call without disturbing your dividend and without any potential of losing your stock. And you're probably making other 4 or 5% a month, which would be 5% would be 60% a year, in addition to your dividend. And so you've got your dividend stock, you've got your dividend, and you're doing your covered call, and you would never enter the transaction unless it was going to be profitable. You have complete, absolute control. And so that's another fantastic thing about
Yeah,
that.
and that's exactly what Randy did to retire, right? He worked for a large company that delivers packages, I guess. I don't know if you should mention it earlier or not. Randy, but he uses that technique, right?
Yeah, Randy was a client, and the very first seminar that Aaron and I did in Atlanta, he was there, and he picked up on the technique. He started doing it, and then he worked for a huge company, and he had the only company he ever worked for is that company, and he had a lot of the stock. So they were going to have a downsizing, and so they called all those senior guys in and said, "Hey, if you want to retire, we're going to do a special retirement for you here, and most of you have stock." Well, he had stock, and he had never sold the stock, so he had a lot of stock, and so he started doing that covered call technique just with his stock. It was a major listed public company with just his stock. He was one of I think there were 75 or 80 of them.
Yep.
Big, huge company. And I think only 3 or 4 of them were able to actually take advantage and retire. He did it because he could sell those covered calls on his stock, and he was making a fortune doing that. So he didn't need to be there anymore. And that's the advantage. That's how he got started. And gosh, that was 20 years ago. He still got that stock.
And that's critical today, because think how many people trying to retire, Joe, right? And then they got to buy health insurance and do something, right? And they can't do it in some cases. And try and live off even their Social Security, which is a lot of times very small compared to what they were making. So this is a great technique to use, especially in Randy's case, just like that. He got retired, or left the company early because of the situation there. But,
yeah, and this was a long time. It was 20 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And so he had his kids, and they were all growing up and going to school. So he had that additional expense. So
oh wow, yeah.
even if he had retired, he would have had to have gone and got a job.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and think also if he would have needed to be in a position where he had to sell his stock for his company, and once you sell it, that's it. It's done. Yeah. So you don't. I mean, he wouldn't have had it for the last 20 years, which I'm sure it's gone up a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he wouldn't be able to pull that income out as he goes to actually live on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like if you don't do the cover call technique like Randy and you're retired, you'd have this pile of stock, right, or cash, I call it, and you're constantly taking money out of that pot, essentially, or that pile. Then pretty soon there's nothing left.
Yeah, and he's still selling it. But I don't know. Let's say he paid $20 for the stock. I had no earthly idea, and now the stock is worth over these 20 years. Now it's worth $100. So he's getting these returns based on $100 as if he just bought the stock for $100. So you can imagine how many times his stock's been paid for over 20 years now, selling the covered calls. How many times he's actually paid for that stock?
Nice. Yep.
Yeah.
Because each time he does it today, it's worth 5 times what. That's kind of what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
So it's just incredible stuff. That's the technique that all we had for years. And when it first started off, and Mark was there, we were teaching people how to get 3 to 5% a month, 3 to 5% a month. I mean, that was a huge return. 3% is 36% a year. Nobody gets that today.
Yep.
Except our clients. And then things begin to change. The trading platforms changed. The commissions disappeared. All kinds of the information that all of a sudden you can get on your computer through blue covered calls just awesome. And now you can not. Before we just had one expiration date. That was the third Friday of the month. Now there's several every week, so you can make 5% a week. Do 20% a year. I mean, a month, or more. And so that's just that whole technique is just fantastic. And
it's just enhanced it, right? Joe gave us more ability to generate more cash flow from that same position, which is great.
And a lot of people out there right now is sitting here listening to this have stock that they've never sold call and didn't realize they could. And my goodness, they've just, if you're not selling calls against your stock, at least on a monthly basis, you can do it weekly now, but on a monthly basis, at least, it's like renting an apartment or owning an apartment, but not renting it, just leaving it vacant. It's the exact same thing.
Yep.
And of course, you don't typically do that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Question from Kathy here for Mark.
Oh. Oh, so okay, so yeah, what platform do you use to trade futures? So our futures thing we haven't talked about too much today, but the platform we use is one from Infinity Futures.com is their website. They have a really good dome, they call it, or depth of market pricing ladder that has a price in the middle, it moves up and down. And if you're trading futures, this is one of the aspects that you'll see in a lot of different brokers. They all have some type of trading dome or ladder, price ladder, they call it, which allows you then to click to sell or click to buy. But this particular one we like because it has a very good discount. We call it our low requirements for each trade entry, which is about $500 per contract. In comparison, if you looked at TOS or Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, I think something like $2,200 some odd dollars are needed per contract, and it requires a larger amount to get started. So for the futures, you can put $3,000 in that account, and you can start trading one contract. And Joe, what's your example about that? When we talked about like if you had $2,000 or $3,000 and you started, and you made 6%,
Yeah, if you've got just $2,000, that's all you got, and it's all you're ever going to be able to put into a brokerage account. Any of the brokerage accounts, not only ones he just mentioned, but any of them, E-Trade, any of them have virtual accounts. So you put the money into a real account. You have access to the virtual account, so you can practice this technique. And then as soon as you feel comfortable, just do it with your real money in the account. When you attend these seminars, you're going to hear them. They made, 37% today. Well, if you just make 6% a week by following the exact trades that they do, if you just make 6% a week for 2 years, that $2,000 is going to compound over those 2 years into $850,000. You never put another penny in. That is astronomical. Then you're set for life, because if you make then 6% on $800,000, that's $50,000 a week. And
crazy,
you do it, and you can do it, and you can attend it. But the nice thing about put it into a virtual account, you can do it in a virtual account, which is exactly like trading for in a real account, until you've proven to yourself, hey, I've really got this down. And then you just switch over to the real money. And so it's just a perfect opportunity to learn without risk. And one of the few times they didn't have virtual accounts that many years ago. When they came out, Mark can tell you we didn't use them a lot because they weren't very good. They didn't work. And now though they're just like the real thing.
So before it was a pad of paper, or then it became an Excel spreadsheet, and now we have real, simulated trading. And that's one thing that's good about this Infinity Futures platform I've been talking about, is they have one of the most realistic, simulated live, trading that you can do. Mm-hmm. It's really simulates it almost 100% like the real thing. So it's really good. So the transition from there to the real deal is, just really easy.
And, a lot of people don't believe these returns that we make, which are astronomical, over 100% per week, and just, huge. But we had a big meeting this past weekend, and we've got a whole bunch of new stuff coming down the pipe. But the most significant thing, or one of the most significant things I see that we have coming down the pipe is these accounts that we do are going to be audited. I think on a monthly basis, isn't it, Micah? Monthly?
It's going to be like weekly or daily. Actually.
Okay. Yeah. They're going to be audited. So you're going to actually see audited statements of these returns that we're talking about. And the other thing that's coming online, and this is not, Micah handles a lot of this stuff to make it work, is when they do a trade. Right now, Mark will say, okay, I'm getting ready to enter the QQQ call, blah, 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 strike. So, and I just did for $2. Well, sometimes he doesn't say that clear enough, or him or any of them actually, or their mic's off or something's wrong and you don't get the trade. Well, you're going to be able to, the trade's going to pop up on your screen in what appears to be their account. So you're going to see. In fact, you can cut off the volume. You don't even need to hear their voice, because you'll be able to see that account pop up when they enter it, and you'll see when they exit. You just follow them. And it's just going to be there's a bunch of other miraculous stuff that we're going to be doing too. It starts up here in about a month or so. So besides new stuff with all of Mark's future stuff. So.
Right. So with the futures even now, Joe, so I'm able to pull up my trading platform. It's right on top of the charts. And they can see that even in the sim accounts or live accounts whenever you trade now. So it's really helped. A lot of people like that. So
Mark, what do you usually make before because this is before his session starts at 7:45 a couple of days a week, and 7:45 a.m. We started at 8:30, and but before he started doing that, then he would be in the futures because you can trade it 24 hours a day. He would come to the micro moment session and say, "Well, I did a couple of futures trades before I came over here, and it always made like how much you made? I made 2,000. I made 20,000. I made 5,000."
Because so the futures, it's for the one we focus on is the Nasdaq 100 futures. So each point is worth $20. So if you're trading one contract, if you can lock in, 25 points, it's $500. 50 points is 1,000. So my goal is always try to get 50 points a day at least with one contract. But a lot of times I'm trading multiple contracts, right? So then multiply that 1,000 by 5 or 10, and it's an amazing day, right? And it starts compiling into something really big over long term. So
absolutely, yeah. That consistency is what just makes it absolutely massive over time, I think. Carl here says 2 weeks ago, I forgot to mention that I took a 1-hour coaching visit with Tim. Nice. He says, I found that coaching became a great one-on-one interactive session. Realized I've been doing a lot of things right, but learned much more. For me, it's well worth the money. Thank you, Tim. That's fantastic, Carl. I'm really glad. A lot of the time, you do have a lot of it correct, right? Trading mistakes can be, due to one small thing that gets into your trading and kind of throws some things around. But most of the time, you're doing most of it right? There's one little aspect that you're waiting too long or you're going too early. There's usually one or two identifiable things. We're really excited about the verification platform because we are going to be able to be in a spot where clients can keep a trading journal as well. And when they do that, then we can go in on those one-on-one sessions and not just say, oh, well, how do you feel about your trading? We can see the trades and see exactly what's happening and identify what is going wrong with the trades themselves, as opposed to just looking at them and kind of trying to get a general idea. We'll be able to see trade for trade exactly what's going on and really, solidly help change that.
Yeah,
go ahead, Mark.
With a journal Mike is talking about, you can actually see the entry and exit points, where it is on a chart, where you did it, and it really tells a lot about what's going on. And even for myself or even our other traders, Tim, we're starting to look at that too. Oh, why did I do that trade? Oh, look at that. Okay, I could have done this better. It gives us a lot of information that we didn't have before. So we really like it. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're already learning. We started doing a daily recap with them. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say what Micah mentioned. The macro moment is really simple technique. It doesn't have a manual. The covered call technique that Mark was talking about, that Randy does, has a manual 300 pages because you can do so much more with that as far as manipulating your stocks. The macro moment, you get in and you get out. And if you stay too long, what Mike was talking about, you get in, it's green, and you're supposed to get out when it goes up a penny or two. And you're not supposed to sit there and wait and speculate that it's going to go higher. You get burnt. It goes up, you take your 2 or 3 cents profit, and those gives those huge returns because you don't have, like Mark goes into a QQQ. I don't know how much QQQ costs on the market, but he's leveraging it with he's only paying maybe $2 or something like that. So 4 cents on $2 is a lot of money.
For sure.
And,
there's one of the cool features of we're going to be using is it kind of does some automatic math for you. So we can see the last 3 weeks and what's been going on, and our average time in winners. So basically how long the trade is of our average winner has been 2 minutes, and our average gain on wins has been 4%. So we're kind of finding that's the sweet spot is we're in it for about 2 minutes. The trades that are most often profitable, we're in for 2, we get a 4% return. And it just happens over and over. Kathy says, do you use trailing stops? Probably for futures, right?
In the futures, we put a stop. You can add a trailing stop. That's up to you. There's that option. Typically, we have, especially on the Nasdaq, it's 20 points away for our stop. Give us some room to move around. We're trading on a 3 or 5 minute chart. You could put a trailing stop on your option stuff. I've never really tried that, but it's something you could do if you feel like that'll help protect you more. It's up to you. But
Yeah. I have tried trailing stops on options. And what I find is when you're looking for a tight profit, right? You want to take profits quickly. Because of the spread, it's a little bit they're a little bit tough to use.
You can stop that fast is what happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just a little fluctuation down pulls you out of the trade when you're not necessarily ready to do that.
Right.
So Kathy, what we do is we put a bigger stop if it just turns and like pushes. We put a stop much past what we would manually exit, right, for a loss, because we want to get out quickly. We want to get out for a 1 or 2% loss or less, ideally. So we try to do that manually. But then on the profit side, oftentimes right when we enter, we put in a sell for profit, so that right when that pushes up, it fills immediately, and it can even overfill us sometimes.
Right. And that's what I do exactly. So whenever I buy that option like that, we're doing the micro moment trading technique on the Qs. I'll buy it, immediately turn around, put a sell order in for 5 cents greater than what I just bought it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then try and get out that way. So.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
And then I can adjust it. Then I can adjust if things aren't working right. I can adjust it, or I can move it. If it's moving faster, sometimes I can take it off and ride this up a little bit and get a better fill. Just depends what's going on, right?
Absolutely. Bob says, "Great to see you guys again. I'll be back in December for a refresher." Well, we will be here and ready to say hello to you. It's good to see you again, Bob.
Oh, nice.
We got some exciting things coming end of December, beginning of January. We're going to be rolling out a lot of this new stuff we're covering. So I think that's going to be great timing, Bob. You're going to see a lot of really cool stuff that you're going to be able to experience before anyone else. So that's exciting.
Nice. Yep.
Well, I think one of the biggest things here is the fact that we're going to have those auto statements and that software where you can actually see your trades and everybody's trades.
Yep.
That's the trades are just so large or the profits are just so large. I can understand why people wouldn't believe. The people that attend those classes do, because they feed back to us instantly during the morning sessions. They type in, "Hey, I just made such and such on the Apple. I just made this on SPY or whatever." So they're getting it. But
so people are doing well. But this will be confirmation that everybody can see and verification. So it's a good step forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to clarify, the reason that's possible is we are updating what we host our webinars on. So before it was only you could share one screen that was whatever was on your screen, you could share it, and then people could message and you could message back. But now we're getting actually a presentation system, so we can have and then just switch screens as we need to show whatever information. So you'll be able to see the chart still, because a lot of the people use that to trade. And then we'll be able to switch over to the platform, switch over to, a drawing pad on a white paper, so we can really clearly explain how something works. It's going to be really powerful, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it'll be good.
Mike, I wasn't there available to attend all the sessions. However, did y'all get to discuss the future of Mark's cash cap?
Yes, he's we're getting a whole fleet of them. And Mark's going to clone himself, and we're going to be driving all around New York City in our MMT.
So, never seen some of those Escalades or an SUV that's decked out, right? They got the big leather cushion, reclining chairs, and they have a big couple of screens on the walls inside the thing, and we just drive around and do that and trade all day.
Escalade limo, there we go.
Pick up brokers and people on Wall Street and get them to subscribe to the technique.
There you go.
We can pick up the MMT masters and that and drive them around for the day.
There you go.
I can imagine having been on Wall Street with Merrill Lynch at one point in my life. I can guarantee you that's never going to happen. They would. You're
out of your mind. Yeah.
Yep. I would say so. That's fantastic. Well, awesome. If anybody has any last questions here, feel free to drop them in. We will answer those for you. Looks like Randy's playing baseball today, Joe.
Okay.
I think so, probably.
Some tournament or something, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. He's our professional baseball player. That's some new people. Kim D, I think.
Yeah, Kim, did I hear you correctly about talk and trade tomorrow? If so, how do I watch? Yeah, so Kim, we have a show every morning for options, and then futures is 2 or 3 times a day now.
2 times a day, but starting December 1st, we're going to go every day.
A week.
Yeah, every trading day.
Okay. December 1st is okay. So just about, yeah.
And-
so we're going to be having, and then Randy does the long term twice a week.
And Mike, if you go to our website, don't we have a free 2-week free for our micro moment trading? 2-week free.
Yeah.
Yes,
we do.
Yeah. So if you go to our website today, Kim, then you can sign up, and you'll probably be on there tomorrow morning. It's a couple of weeks free.
There you go. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See how it works and everything like that.
Yep.
Kim, we will be rolling out, if you're brand new to the world of trading, we will be rolling out some intro courses very soon. And these are going to take you from, I don't know what a stock is or what a limit order is, like the very, very basics, all the way to being able to make your first trade and understanding the basics of options. So we have that coming very, very soon as well, just so you know.
And let me say this about Mark's futures trading. He is the only person, seriously, I'm totally honest with this, the only person I've ever known that traded futures that actually had to take a delivery. Why don't you kind of explain how you had to actually take a delivery?
So when I first started trading, which was a while, this is a long time ago now, right? Some friends of mine were messing around with futures, it was the egg thing, right? So we were buying and selling futures, and we ended up stuck with this contract, and we had to take delivery. They told us of these eggs. We're like, what? Yeah, there's like 5 tractor trailers eggs. You got to take delivery. Oh shit, what? So we had to go raise some capital, get it together, find a warehouse to store this stuff, and then find a buyer. It was a nightmare, And so the point is, I guess, with futures back then, I was still trying to learn what was going on. And of course, with futures that we're doing today, the difference is, we're using indexes, 1, so it's cash settled, but 2, we never leave a position overnight open. We don't leave it open overnight, and that's where it gets to be a problem. If you let it go to expiration or overnight, you got a big time problem, right? Especially if you want, do you have room for 10,000 barrels of oil in your backyard, or how about 5,000 bushels of wheat? No.
What did y'all have to take delivery of?
What's that?
What did you have to take delivery of?
It was eggs.
Eggs.
So maybe it was Easter, would have been great, but I don't know it wasn't quite Easter. So.
That's hilarious. Did you end up finding a grocery store to sell them to, or how did you? What did you do?
We actually made like a tiny profit. I would say like $100 when we were done. It was like crazy, but because we had to rent this warehouse, and we had to find a buyer, and it was just insane,
Wow, that's hilarious.
And of course, when you're like 27, 28, you're like, what the hell? Okay, what are you doing?
That's wonderful. What a story. All righty, guys. Well, thank you for being here. Kim, go ahead and check that out. And whose mic is that? I'm going to try to. Oh, there we go. I think it's Mark's. And then we will see you this upcoming Thursday at 10 a.m. Central. And anything else, Joe or Mark?
Thursday's Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Okay, so we probably won't do a show.
Yeah, we'll be here Thursday, yeah.
Perfect.
So.
Okay, so we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. And then we're going to be upgrading this show as well. So really excited for that, and we will show you guys the new format coming back from the holidays there.
Okay, see y'all later. Thank you.
All right, see you soon.
Bye-bye.